So this is my partycade, and as you can see up top here, we got our LCD screen working and showing videos here. So as you pick the different systems, it's showing video clips. So the funny thing is these video clips actually are animated GIFs. So I'm using Batocera 42, and for some reason, when you're doing this part of the setup, the MP4 part doesn't work. It will not let me do MP4s for these systems, but it will let me do animated GIFs. And if you can see, the animated GIFs here are perfect. They work just like videos. So I'm going to actually show you how to make them. The funny thing to note, though, is that when you go into the games and you do stuff like this, those work on MP4s. So each game, like, you can have a little animated video as you go into that. So like that, I got one here for Pac-Man. I'll show you for Pac-Man. Right, so what'll happen is I start off with the marquee, and then if you wait more than 2 seconds, it'll play a little video, and then the video will run, and then it'll come back and it'll be the marquee, and you can play the game. Right? When you come back here, then you get the video that keeps running in a continuous loop, and that's for all the systems, right? It's my trackball games, right? And again, this is great. I mean, it really, doing this is the way to go. Again, marquee is straightforward. You buy it, you put it right in. There's no modifications. 2 screws on the side, you take them out, you pull out the marquee, boom, boom, you put the new marquee back in, you're done. It's one wire to the HDMI 2 in either your Raspberry Pi or your PC, and Batocera does all the work. So there's no work there. It's just making the videos fit right and look good. That's all done in DaVinci. I'm going to show you how that works, and then I'll show you how I make these animated GIFs. So what you see here is DaVinci Resolve. Basically, you can go on the internet and get some kind of video. You can edit it. You slice the video, make it a short video. You want to make it, around 5-6 seconds, right? And you got to constantly loop it. So basically, I made this one, and I added the Daphne logo that I created here, and I tested out in here, and I see that it works great. So I got my loop working, and that's going to be the video I want. Would be nice if all I had to do was to export this to an MP4 and I'd be done. But again, like I said, for some reason with the Batocera, it's not allowing me to do that, and we have to convert this to an animated GIF. So DaVinci actually has a way to export this to an animated GIF. I can do that. I can go here and I can pick GIF. But the issue with this is it's going to export it at a really high resolution. I can't, even when I reduce it, the file is too big. I talked to ChatGTP and it said, no, this is not the way to do it. There's a way to get a better animated GIF. So what you basically do is go in here and you're going to export this as a PNG. So we're going to make a folder here on my desktop, and we're going to export this to that folder, right? So we're going to go here, I'm going to put it in this new folder for now, right? So I'm going to export the PNG, right? So for the current monitor, which is actually a 1280 by 390, because I'm using a Raspberry Pi 5, it has an issue with using that resolution plus the other resolution of 1080 by 1280 or 1080 by 1920 for the main screen. So the recommendation was to change that to a 1280 by 970 in the top, which works perfect, but then you got to resize the videos correctly, right? So again, you can experiment with sizing, but basically I did a custom size. I did like 640 by 354, right? And what it does, it'll expand it to fit perfectly. I am going to be switching to a G5 NUC box with a N97, a little mini PC, and that might let me use the real native resolution, but for right now, to make it work on the Raspberry Pi, this is what I did. So we're going to go here, we're going to export this to that folder. So I'm going to add to the render queue, and it's going to render. And then what you'll see here, I'll show you. See, what it does is it exports the video in frames. So you got all the frames here, right? So then all you have to do now is there's a program called GIFSky, and all these programs are free. It's called GIFSky, GIF.SKI. You go here and you pick the quality. I pick best quality, and frames per second, pick 20. And then you take all the all the PNGs that were exported from the MP4, and you just drag it here. And it'll say, okay, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to say export it to my desktop. I'm going to call it logo.gif, and hit save, and it'll run, and it'll create your video. So here's my video. So this is my animated GIF, and if you run this, you'll see it works perfect. There's your animated GIF, right? So it's really that simple, right? So now I got a nice animated GIF. It's a decent size. It should be under like 25. Let's take a quick look here. Properties. Yeah, see, it's 14,000. So you want to keep them like under 25 because you want them to load fast with no delay when you flip through the systems, right? So 14 is more than acceptable. I mean, sometimes I got some that are 7, some that are 6. I mean, and you can lower the quality. If you want to get them a little faster, you can do great. And it'll probably give you a little bit better, but I try to get max quality out of it. So then the easy part is now, what do I do with them, right? So you have to put them in Batocera. So what I did is I'm logging into my Raspberry Pi through WinSCP. So what you're going to go into is you're going to go into your different folders. So you're going to go into user data, then you're going to go into systems, and then you're going to go into what's called backlash. If backlash is not there, you just create the folder. In the backlash folder, you're going to create a folder called systems. And then in there, you're going to write the name of the collection. So if it's Daphne, you're going to pick Daphne. If it's MAME, it's MAME. And then inside that collection is where you're going to put your animated GIF, right? So there's actually garbage. There it is. So that logo I created, I uploaded into this folder, logo.gif, right? So the way it works is each name of the system knows the name of the system. So it knows it's Daphne. So the marquee animated it's looking for is the word logo. So each one's going to have logo. So even though I might have MAME, inside MAME, it's going to say logo, right? And you can see I have some extra ones here, but it's logo, it's what it's looking for, right? So whatever GIFs you put in those folders with the word logo, those are going to come up on the screen. And then again, you just, you might have to adjust the sizes, but basically that's all you have to do to get the animated GIF working, right? The other part about this, I might as well mention it now, is besides the animated GIFs, I also want the actual marquees for the game to come up. So the way Batocera works is it will pull from the theme, it'll pull like the text of the game. But if you want the actual marquee of the game to come up and not affect the wheel in the Batocera system, this is what you need to do. So in here, in this, where I started off to do my animated marquee, so I pick my system Daphne, right? Here's going to be my video that plays when I pick the system. Now when I go into Daphne and pick the game, so I go into games, I make a folder called marquee, and I put the marquees in here. So by doing this, what happens is if there's an existing real marquee with the name of the game, it'll pick that instead of showing the text, which is a really great feature. And I'll show you how that looks on the screen now. And that's really all there is to it. It's pretty much plug and play. It works by itself. It's awesome. So again, going back to the system like I explained. So here's where your systems are. And when you click the systems, it runs each animated GIF. And as you can see, they look great. They look just like movies. It's perfect, right? So now we do our Daphne. Now when I go into the systems, and now you see the games, if you see here, that's the real marquee from the game. So the real marquee will come up, and that was what I was showing you in the other folder. So let's see if I have one that doesn't have a marquee on it, just to show you. Most of mine have marquees because I uploaded them all. But I might have some in... let's see. Maybe Model 3. Yeah, so Model 3, you can see it's picking the name, not a marquee, because there's no game marquees for these, right? But if you look at Star Wars, I pulled the marquee, put the marquee in there. These are picking the names from my theme. That's pulling the marquee. So if you put the marquee in that folder, it will overwrite the name, which is a nice little feature, right? And that's all there is to it. I mean, again, this is the simplest setup I did. This screen is an exact fit. I popped it out, put it in, screwed it in, and I'm done. And it's one wire to the, you need a power supply, of course, and then the one wire to the Raspberry Pi. All right, hope this helped everybody.